Alright, so I couldn't even wait till I got home to make this video because it's so ridiculous. And there really does need to be a word created specifically to cover the term liberal hypocrisy. Because liberal hypocrisy as a term it's no longer just a phrase, it's an actual thing. I feel like liberal hypocrisy is almost a actual physical thing we can touch. It needs its own word. I'll be taking suggestions out there in the chat for what we should call liberal hypocrisy as its own word in the dictionary. I don't know, libtardedness? I don't know what you want to call it, but I'd love to hear what some of you guys have to say about this, because I'm sitting there and listening to a podcast, and they're talking about the whole tax reform thing and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, regardless of how you feel about it, whatever. To me, I'm in a tax bracket where I don't know that I'm really going to save anything or not. I don't know. And if I do, it's enough to go get Burger King or something. I mean, it's not significant. My taxes don't go up. Nobody's does. Contrary to what the liberal media tries to say, nobody's taxes actually goes up. But whatever. But the idea behind tax reform and actually cutting taxes, regardless of who you're cutting taxes from, is simply the idea that the government's saying, hey, we're just going to take less of your money. And this notion that they've been pushing that it's theft, that somehow the Republicans are stealing money, is so mind-bogglingly ludicrous because of the fact that it's not their money. This is not the government's money. It's our money. It's the corporation's money. It's the individual's money. It was never the government's money. And there is this fundamentally destructive and wrong-headed thinking in liberal politics that somehow your ability to have money, to have things, to be free to do what you want to do, all comes from the government's ability to allow you to have those things, to allow you to keep the money that's rightfully theirs, but they're going to let you keep a decent chunk of it. And it's so ridiculous, okay? Especially coming from groups who talk about, being free to do what they want and live their lives how they want and marry who they want and smoke what they want and do with their bodies how they want because they have human rights, natural rights. Well, apparently not when it comes to shit they don't agree with, like taxes. No, that's from the government. The government gives you that right. That's a privilege. That's not a right. You are privileged by the government to keep your own money. It's absolutely insane and ridiculous. But to get more to the point of what I'm talking about here, the reason that I just had to make this video is I heard a clip from Nancy Pelosi talking about this. And these words, and I've heard this before in the past from her and other liberals, Bloomberg and some of these other big talking heads that get out there every time, Republicans or conservatives try to do something or push for something they don't agree with. That's the antithesis of liberal, think and speak, right? But she gets out there and she starts talking about how this tax reform bill, it goes so against what the founders wanted for this country, and it harms the troops, and she just goes on this liberal tirade, bringing up all these things that are conservative talking points. Like, liberals don't give two shits about the founders and about the military and about our troops. They notoriously, famously give no shits about these things, about the Constitution, about the Bill of Rights, about, oh, you're right to do this or you're right to do that, or the founders, for God's sake. Most of the Democrats out there spend their time trying to take down monuments of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and the founders of this country anyway. They don't give two shits about these people until it might possibly serve their point to throw that shit in there in an argument. And the fact that the mind boggles at the fact that Nancy Pelosi doesn't understand the argument she's making, to the point that she's saying that tax cuts are the antithesis of what the founders wanted, when we literally went to war with the British and separated from the British for one of many reasons, being taxes. Oh, jeez. I don't know. It's absolutely ridiculous, absolutely insane. Nancy Pelosi is just a fucking nut job. And so is every goddamn liberal in fucking public office. They're just a bunch of fucking nuts. Now, I've got liberal friends, but they're not crazy like these nut jobs are, like these tards are. It's absolutely amazing. Look, Nancy Pelosi, just sit down and shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. And everybody knows you don't give two shits about the founders or the troops or the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, because you spend all your time, when you've got power, when y'all run the Congress and the Senate and the presidency, you spend all your time talking about how these things are outdated, and how the founders were a bunch of racists, and how we shouldn't trust them, and how we should change things, and we should move away from all these things that now, just because somebody cut taxes, now you seem to care about. Absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, there you go, guys. Liberal hypocrisy at its finest. I don't know where you go with this. I really don't. But I'm going to be looking forward to what you guys have to say about a new word we will create for the dictionary to describe liberal hypocrisy.